Alright, hello everyone. Wow, you totally cannot see the t-shirt that I'm wearing. I wore this t-shirt so I could look good for the weekend preview, and you can't actually see it, so I'll show it to you. It's actually a t-shirt that I got from last month's Loot Crate. So, I actually do Loot Crate unboxings here every single month on the King of Hate vlogs here on YouTube, so check that out if you want to. But anyway, hello and welcome to the weekend preview. Today is Sunday, No, it's not. It's Sunday, July 5th, 2015. Yeah, time is flying by. We are now hot in the middle of summer, okay? And because of that, this summer is going to be an interesting time. I've actually said this several times over the past week, but this summer in particular is actually going to be one of the most busy summers that we've had in quite some time. In fact, the past couple of years, it always seems to be a very slow downtime, and this year doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. I'm about to explain why in just a few moments, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you can expect from this week. But before we do get there, a few quick things that I want to cover, because I talked about it on Twitter over the past couple of days, and I want to be sure that everyone who watches my videos has gotten the news as well, alright? First of all, typically by now, I would have already begun work on the best of the month, best of worst montage of the month, for the month of June. Right? But this month in particular has been so busy. We had Batman Arkham Knight that just released not even 2 weeks ago, and I've been hot in the middle of that playthrough while continuing on with other projects, such as trying to finish up The Witcher 3. And between everything that's been going on, I just haven't had a chance to work on this best and worst of the month. Incidentally, it looks like this week in particular is going to be a busy week for me because I'm going to be finishing up Batman Arkham Knight, at least the mainstream story of the game and some of the main launch DLCs, as well as finishing up my long and ongoing playthrough of The Witcher 3 that's been going on for some almost 2 months now. So with those lingering, with the fact that we've got Yakuza 4, a game that I started in June and then went on the back burner for quite some time because of everything else going on, and the fact that we've got DLC releases and we've got major things coming up this month, I really don't want to take 1 to 2 streams away or sessions away from working on game reviews and gameplay streams to work on this best and worst montage. Now, listen, I know I don't take this lightly. I know that these montages that I have done this year were a major part of the changes that I instituted this year. A lot of people said, Phil, you only do gameplay. And that's cool, but we like to see edited content, and we like to see more effort put into that, and I made a pledge earlier this year that I was going to work towards that, and in fact, every month, I've been doing best and worst of DSP Classics based on what patrons want, and I've been doing these best and worst of the month, and my video reviews, the Hateful Truth reviews, have actually become a big step up when it comes to visual quality and editing versus what they used to be, okay? So I know that. But I took a poll basically on Twitter last night. I wanted to get everyone's feelings on this, and the majority of people who responded said, we feel right now with everything that's going on, with the fact that you just finished a major game, Batman, or you're about to finish it, you're about to finish Witcher 3, there's all this new content that we want to see. We'd rather see you do the new stuff and hold off on this best of the worst of the month montage than take time out to do it and then be so far behind, right? So I think that's the route I'm going. You will not see a best and worst of June montage come out anytime soon, but what I'm planning on doing is maybe accumulating the best of July as well, and then maybe come August, which by the way, in early August, it looks to be very slow, then I could work for a couple days and put together this super montage of the best of June and July for you. Okay, so I apologize that it's not coming out this week like normally it would have, but there's just so much going on, which we're about to talk about, all right? And before we get to that, one more thing to talk about. I do want to mention Patreon. I do want to let everyone know what's going on with Patreon, because basically for the month of June, we had a lot of people pledging last minute, and this happens every single month. As people pledge last minute, it closes off the last day of the month, and then starting the 1st of the next month, so July 1st, people started being charged for Patreon. Unfortunately, I got this big notice from Patreon this month saying they screwed everything up, that they had tried to charge people on July 1st, and there was a big error in their system, and it declined almost everyone that they attempted to charge on July 1st, and so that July 2nd, they were going to attempt to recharge people, but that there may still be errors, and people need to check their accounts and double check and make sure that everything's in line. I tried to send messages out this week to the patrons. There was some 15 to 20 people who still showed as declined in the Patreon system. And I sent them messages several days ago. Unfortunately, I didn't hear back from any of them. So unfortunately, what I think happened this month was everyone pledged, right, to my Patreon like they usually do. it got declined, and no one double-checked. Everyone just thought, oh, my pledge is fine. I'm not going to, check. They're not paying attention to Twitter. They're not paying attention to my Patreon account, where I private messaged them. No one read the messages, and now we've got some 20 people who their pledges didn't go through, and I can't really help it. As of, I think it's tomorrow is the cutoff. It takes like 1 week, and after 1 week, Patreon will not recharge you for the month of June. So it's a negative to you if you are one of those unlucky 20 people because you didn't update your info or double check it and see what was wrong with it. It's bad for me because obviously I don't get the money. So you don't get the perks, I don't get the pledge. So it kind of hurts both of us, and it is Patreon's fault this month because they screwed everything up. The good news is, it wasn't a huge problem, but it was a chunk. It was like $150 of pledges that I'm not going to get now. And I'll be honest, once everything's said and done, and once Patreon takes their cut and the credit card charges take their cut, it probably won't even be the top goal, which was $1,250. I probably won't even make that on Patreon. However, being that this is some kind of an extenuating circumstance, the fact that we had over $1,400 in pledges, and the reason that some of these didn't go through is because of a stupid error, I'm going to go ahead this month, for the month of July, I'm going to say we hit all the goals for June, even though technically it looks like we probably didn't, and I'm still going to move forward as if we did, because it's no fault of anyone's who pledged, and I don't want to punish the viewers for some stupid clerical error on Patreon's part that they didn't freaking figure out, and now people didn't get pledges in. That's not fair to them, and it's not fair to you. So, I'm not doing that. So this month, we're going to act as if all the pledge levels had been hit, and I'm going to do all the goals. So that means, yes, we will be doing the best and worst of DSP Classics, so TV Superstars will happen, and more than likely what I will do is probably open up a poll this month, later this month, after I start with TV Superstars, because that's what won for the month of May, and that's only going to take a couple weeks to do. It was a short playthrough, so I'll probably open up a poll and say, what's the next one that you guys and gals would like to see? So that's probably going to come later in the month, all right? I am going to be doing the DSP Plays It Patron's Choice. That nominations and poll will open soon, all right? And yes, at the end of this month, there will be another marathon. This past month, we had a very successful marathon of Crash Bandicoot 1, which I completed after around 7 hours of gameplay. And the patrons will again be voting this month on if they want to see me do more Crash. So do you want to see me start with Crash 2 and then go on to 3? Or do you want to see me do Banjo-Kazooie? Or do you want to see me play a classic Sonic the Hedgehog games marathon? Same choices as last month, but it was so successful, I want to do it again this month for the end of July. So what I just mentioned, all those polls will be going up over the course of July on the King of Hate forums. I want to make this clear to patrons who pledged. I have to wait another couple days just in case anything goes through with Patreon for these final 20 people. And then once that's through, this first kind of full week of July, I will start to get everyone's perks sorted out. I'll get forum accounts upgraded. I'll message you if you are qualified for a t-shirt or a private video or any of that stuff. And that stuff will be done over the next couple of weeks, okay? So just to make that clear to everyone, I apologize that there's all this kind of annoyance at the beginning of the month. It was a Patreon error, but we're moving forward as if everything was hunky-dory because I don't want to punish the viewers for a Patreon processing error, okay? All right. I've gotten all of that out of the way. So now all of that's out of the way, let's talk about this week in particular, because this week's going to be unique. It's going to be the ending, a continuation and ending of certain games. It's going to be the continuation of other games that have been on the back burner for a while. There's going to be a big DLC, and dependent on how all of that goes, there may even be the launch of a new playthrough this week, okay? So let's talk. So first of all, today I played Batman Arkham Knight. I was hoping to beat the game today, and for all intents and purposes, I kind of did, alright? There's one mission left in the game. It's called the Nightfall Protocol. For many people, it unlocked at the end of the game. For me, it didn't, and here's why. Apparently, there's this kind of a snafu in the programming of Batman Arkham Knight. The way the game works is there's a final mission where you foil the final villain of the game, which, no surprise here, it's Scarecrow. He was the main villain for the whole game, okay? You foil the Scarecrow, and then technically the game ends, but not really, alright? There's a final mission that the game says, oh, if you stop everyone in Arkham, you can unlock this Nightfall Protocol mission, and you can get the true ending of the game. Now, there's 3 scenarios. Either you beat Nightfall Protocol without doing much of any of the side content of the game, you get one ending. You beat it after beating 7 of the major hubs of side content of the game. That gives you a middle-of-the-road ending. And then if you do everything in the game completely, including all the over 200 Riddler trophies that are hidden in the game, then you get the complete 100% ending of the game. I did all of the side content in the game except for the Riddler. The Riddler, I'm more than halfway done, but there's still over 100 trophies to find. Guess what happened? The game didn't trigger the Nightfall Protocol mission for me, and people are saying this is actually a common thing that's happening to people who are kind of completionists but didn't feel like doing all the Riddler stuff during the main game. You're then forced to do the Riddler stuff before the final mission will even unlock. So for all intents and purposes, I beat the game, okay? It's just that the game has this weird programming issue where it won't launch the final mission if you've done all the side content but didn't beat the Riddler. Other people who didn't do as much side content as me got to the end and were able to do the Nightfall Protocol right away. So it is an issue with the game. It's a stupid oversight in their programming of the game. So as of today, technically I beat Arkham Knight. Now I haven't seen the ending, but technically the gameplay of the game is over outside of just finding Riddler trophies and solving Riddler riddles, okay? So as of today, all that content is live and it is in the playlist. I don't want to leave it like that. That's kind of a ridiculous, especially for people who've been watching the whole playthrough over 80 parts, to have it just end like that at a cliffhanger and not see the true ending of the game. So I want to let everyone know I will be continuing that later in the week. I'm going to explain to you how that's going to happen in a moment. But I need to review this game. It's been almost 2 weeks now since it's been out, and I don't want to wait till the end of the week. It could take upwards of 6 or more hours for me to do all the Riddler content in the game. Sorry, I'm not going to wait that long, wait until the end of the week to review the game because of a stupid programming issue. So I'm going to review the game tonight. In fact, as soon as I finish recording this weekend preview, I'm going to record the verbal portion where I talk about the game. That's what I'm recording tonight, okay? And then later in the week, I will release it, and I'll tell you the schedule in a moment, okay? So the review is being recorded tonight, and then later in the week, the review will go live. So what can you expect gameplay-wise this week? Great question. Tomorrow, Monday, I'm taking a day off from Batman because I've been playing Batman like crazy. And tomorrow, I want to focus in on completing The Witcher 3. People have said from where I left off last night, which was the last time I played the game, I'm only around 2 hours from the end of the game. So that's great. Tomorrow's first gameplay stream will be Witcher 3, just to be sure I have enough time to finish up the game. Okay, that's been almost, when you look at how long it's been out, that's a month-and-a-half long playthrough. And if you actually look at the amount of times I've played Witcher 3 versus Persona 4, which was my other incredibly long playthrough for this year, right now it's only 2 streams short. So it looks like it may actually be around the same length as my Persona 4 playthrough. That's how much content's in the game, and I didn't do all of it. There's actually stuff I skipped. So that game has a ridiculous ton of content in it, okay? So I'll be finishing that on first stream tomorrow. If I do finish it early, which I'm hoping I do finish it maybe at least a half hour early, I want to film this portion, the talking portion of the review of Witcher 3 tomorrow, okay? There will be a second gameplay stream on Monday. It's going to be Yakuza 4. Yes, finally, no lie, no kidding this time, Yakuza 4 is actually going to happen tomorrow night. And I know people have been waiting weeks now. And I apologize, there were supposed to be 2 major Yakuza 4 streams that were supposed to happen before all that nonsense happened with DDoS attacks before I started playing Batman weeks ago. And I was supposed to do another stream of it last week, but being I was so close to the end of Witcher 3, I said, you know what, let me just focus on Witcher 3. It's resuming tomorrow night, okay? So that's Monday. Tuesday, my first stream on Tuesday, and I gotta say this with every finger crossed, every arm twisted, alright? I want to play with Predator in Mortal Kombat 10. That's right, the third of 4 DLC characters, the Predator, from the Predator movies, is released this coming Tuesday. However, I bought the game on PlayStation 4, and I have the unlucky circumstance that PlayStation Network doesn't always update properly. And even when it does update properly, sometimes these DLCs have not worked properly in Mortal Kombat 10. So, example here, Jason Voorhees was released for Season Pass holders on the day he was supposed to be out, but he wasn't playable. I had to find a weird workaround to get him to work, and then they patched it while I was playing with him to make him work properly in the game. Last month, when Tanya came out, she was available, and I downloaded her, but she wasn't in my menu, and I had to reinstall the Tanya DLC, no shit, 3 times and restart my PlayStation 4 3 times for her to finally show up in the character selection screen. So, it's taken an incredible and painstaking amount of work to get these fucking DLCs to work, even though they should work for Season Pass holders. You would think we'd be the ones who we paid ahead of time. We would be the ones who it would work. No. For whatever reason, NetherRealm and PSN is not working properly, and we're having tons of issues, alright? So, if the Predator works, I want to play with Predator on my first gameplay stream on Tuesday. I want to do like I've always done. Bring him in the lab, which means training mode. Try all 3 versions of the character and mess around with him in training mode for a good half hour to 45 minutes. Then go through his traditional classic ladder mode so I can get a little bit of combat in, and then go online and play for an hour or 2 online and get a good session in, and then I will release that Predator gameplay all this week, balanced with my other content, okay? So I'm hoping that works. First stream on Tuesday. If it doesn't, that'll be second stream on Tuesday, and what I will do is early Tuesday, instead of doing gameplay, I'll work on editing the Batman Arkham Knight review, try to release that, and maybe even edit and release the Witcher 3 review, depending on how much time I have, okay? So either way, you're definitely on Tuesday getting Predator gameplay, and you're getting the Batman Arkham Knight review. I just can't promise you when it's going to happen, because it's all dependent on PSN and NetherRealm and this shit actually working in the game, alright? Okay. Wednesday. On Wednesday this week, what I would like to do is go back to Arkham Knight, back to Batman Arkham Knight. And what I would like to do is do the DLC content first. And what I mean by that is I've had these DLCs. I've had the Under the Red Hood DLC. I've had the Harley Quinn DLC. And I've had this Scarecrow Challenge Maps DLC, which I've had since the launch of the game. I got them all for buying the Season Pass and pre-ordering and yada, yada, yada. I would like to play those, because I didn't play them during the entire campaign of the game, because people were saying, oh, you might have spoilers and stuff if you play them. So I'm going to play those Wednesday on my very first gameplay stream, alright? If I have time after, because I've actually heard they're pretty short. I heard that both the Red Hood and Harley Quinn are very short. They're only like a half an hour each. And the Scarecrow Challenge maps, as long as you want to play them, you know what I mean? So let's say it takes an hour and a half, 2 hours to get through that. I'll take the final hour to do more of these freaking Riddler trophies in the game, try to get more, because I want to try to get all the trophies and actually do this Nightfall Protocol this week and finish the game, alright? Now, some people have already said, oh, well, Phil should just do all those Riddler trophies off stream. He should do all that off stream and come back, and that way we could just see the ending of the game. To which I have to say this, because I think some people have a mass misconception of reality, alright? When exactly should I do this off stream? What personal time should I give up? Should it be when I'm in the morning having breakfast and getting dressed and showering? Should it be when after I do my first stream, when I'm downstairs either cooking or eating dinner and cleaning up and doing household chores? Should it be after the first stream when I'm usually, or second stream when I'm usually babysitting videos and doing all my after work and answering emails and tweeting? Or should it be maybe the 1 hour or 2 hours a night that I get to relax with my girlfriend? What time exactly should I sacrifice to do these Riddler trophies off stream? Now, don't take this as like being offensive. I'm not unoffended at all. I just think people have this massive misconception that Phil of 2015 is the same as Phil of 2011. I'm not. In 2011, I lived in a bachelor pad, right? I lived in a small place in Connecticut. I had almost no responsibilities. To eat meant running out to buy fast food once a day. Took 30 minutes, and I had all this free time. I didn't live with my girlfriend. I didn't have chores, no responsibilities. Things are way different now. This is why I've said I cannot grind for RPGs anymore. I can't, unless the RPG can be synced with my PS Vita, and I can play my PS Vita, say, downstairs in the living room when I'm watching TV or something at night, relaxing with my girlfriend. I don't have time for it anymore, because that's my life. My life has dramatically changed. I'm not living the life of a bachelor anymore who has all this massive free time. All my time is accounted for. In fact, we don't even have time to do stuff that we want to do. So I don't have time to grind for Riddler trophies off camera so I could show the true ending. No, if I'm going to do these Riddler trophies, they have to happen on camera this week. And as I've already said, I feel like I owe it to people who've stuck in there and watched this playthrough from the beginning to see the true ending of the game, right? So it's going to happen. So Wednesday first stream, the DLCs of the game are going to be played. Red Hood, Harley Quinn, Scarecrow Challenge maps, and then after that I'm going to do some Riddler content. Second stream on Wednesday is kind of up in the air, but I'm thinking what I should do is spend the time and release the Witcher 3 review and do some editing there, you know, edit it in and do the Witcher 3 review. So that way, the two big projects of the past couple of months, Witcher 3 and Batman, the reviews are done and they're in the bag, you know what I mean? So I think that would be the fair thing to do. Now, this Thursday, I'm on the fence, and here's why I'm on the fence. Because I haven't done a Hate Live podcast in a long time. You guys know, it was actually back in, the middle of June, right? Wasn't it? It was actually June, was it June 18th? Yeah, June 18th was the last podcast I've done. So at this point, it's been it'll have been 3 weeks without a podcast. And obviously, I've got a lot to talk about. There's been a hell of a lot going on with me regarding DDoS attacks and being swatted and the Batman and all this stuff going on, and this huge summer coming up of this crazy amount of content that's been announced. But I don't know if I want to take time out to do a podcast, because right now, as you know, I'm in the middle of these projects. I mean, what if I don't have a lot of time to really play with Predator Online on Tuesday? Maybe I'd like to play with him again another session this week, right? I definitely want to get 1 to 2 more sessions of Yakuza 4 in this week, because I have not had a chance to play a lot of that game. And I know there's people who wanted to see it. It was a patron goal for 1 month. It's going to continue. I like the game. I just need to have time to do it, okay? In addition to all of that, this week, hopefully by the end of this week, I would like to start a new game. And what I mean by that is a new downtime playthrough that's going to continue throughout the summer. And it'll start this week, and it may go on a little bit of a hiatus for next week. And I'm actually going to talk to you a little bit about why in a moment. But it'll come back later on this month in July, where the last 2 weeks there's really not much going on besides a beta, which we'll talk about in a moment too. So I'm debating in my head what it should be. And right now I've kind of got a few ideas. So here are the ideas. Number one people have asked for years, Metroid Prime. I bought Metroid Prime Trilogy on my Wii U years ago. It was last year, I think. And people have said they love Metroid Prime. It's a classic. They want to see me play it. That's one very large contender. Another contender that I'm a little bit skeptical of starting right now is Knights of the Old Republic. It was a fan of mine who actually sent me the game on Xbox, so we'll be playing the Xbox version emulated on Xbox 360. But I know the game is incredibly long. I just played Persona 4. I just played Witcher 3. I don't know if I want to take on another game that's going to take me over 2 months to beat. You know what I mean? Especially with some of the stuff that's going to keep me busy for this summer. So I don't know. Another game, Assassin's Creed Rogue. A lot of people have said this is the better Assassin's Creed game from last year. It was way better than Assassin's Creed Unity, and I should play it. On the flip side, I'm actually getting people saying it's too late. You missed the boat. If you were going to play it, you should have played it already. The game's a year old now. No one cares about it. Which sucks because I bought it. It's sitting here and collecting dust, right? Another game, Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. Again, another game that I bought, and no one really wanted to see it back in March. People are saying, wait for downtime. Here's downtime, but people want a 2-month-long RPG playthrough of a game that's already old. I don't know if anyone's going to watch it, okay? And then the other one that I would say, Earthbound Origins. This was a game that was announced and released during E3 week last month, so it's about a month old now, which is basically the original Earthbound game. It's called Mother. It's an NES game that was ported and translated and released on the Wii U, on the Virtual Console, and that's a game that I could play. So these are just, you know what I mean? These are just a few examples. The final example, the one that I am actually very interested in playing pretty much as Metroid Prime, Resident Evil Code Veronica X HD. This is basically the final mainstream Resident Evil game that I didn't play besides Resident Evil 0, but that's okay because Resident Evil 0 is getting an HD release next year. Next year, Capcom's redoing it as they did with Resident Evil 1 earlier this year, and they're redoing it next year. So I'll play that next year, but this is the final one. Code Veronica is the final one I never played, and I would really like to play that one too. But again, will there be people coming out to view it or what? And that's what I mean. When you have so many choices for a downtime game, unfortunately, it's going to dilute the audience. You're going to have some people that want to see one, some people that want to see the other, and ultimately, whatever I choose, not everyone's going to want to see it, okay? So, I'm trying to decide by the end of this week what game it is that I should play. I'll be honest, the front runners for me right now really are Metroid Prime and Resident Evil. Those are the two that I'm looking at. But if people overwhelmingly message me saying, no, we want to see this other one instead, I would consider doing it. I want to play all the games that I just mentioned, but I don't know if all of them would make sense right now, okay? So, to get back on track here, Thursday, I am going to play more Yakuza 4 on Thursday, alright? I don't know what else Thursday's going to be. It could be a Hate Live podcast. That's my second stream on Thursday. It might not be. I want to see how the week goes. Let's make sure that I've completed what I wanted to complete, okay? And we'll go from there. But right now, I'm leaving it as an open-ended. Thursday night may be a podcast, or Thursday night may end up being a new playthrough. I'm not sure yet, okay? Friday, what I want to do on Friday, since on Wednesday was the last day that I played Batman, Friday's main stream for 3 hours, I just want to do the Riddler shit. I want to get as far as I can into the Riddler stuff, try to beat it, try to get through it, and I don't know if I'll beat it all, because I'm about 100 trophies away, as of today, just so everyone knows, As of today, I did for about a half an hour, I did this Riddler stuff, and I found over 20 trophies. So I'm thinking if I really dedicate myself to it, within, say, 4 or 5 hours, I could probably beat it and we could beat the game, but I need to dedicate the time to do it. So this Friday, I want to take my first stream to do that, alright? We'll see how it goes, okay? Friday night, again, we're going to see what happens. Could it be a new playthrough? Maybe it's more Yakuza 4. We'll have to see. This Saturday is the day when Leanna and I are going to spend time doing co-op, so we're going to be continuing on with the Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham playthrough. I will be very honest with everyone here, alright? I don't think this game is anywhere near as good as Jurassic World was, Lego Jurassic World. This game seems to have some issues where they throw so many characters at you out of nowhere, and the characters have a ton of outfits they can equip with a ridiculous amount of abilities, and you just end up running into puzzles. You're like, how am I supposed to solve this effing puzzle? And you get so confused, you get frustrated, and it ends up taking 10 minutes to clear a room that should take 5 seconds if the game was more clear. At least with Jurassic World, the game was very clear. You could figure it out. You grab the dinosaur. Wow, this is awesome. And even though that game was only around 6 hours long, it was 6 hours of a lot of fun. This game really seems like it's going to end up being longer and more tedious because they made it more cryptic, okay? Now, I understand a lot of people liked this game last year. The playthrough's not doing too well, or apparently for whatever reason, maybe because the game was a year old. I don't know, but people aren't really liking the playthrough that much. That's fine. That's why we're only doing it once a week. So that's going to be the main gameplay stream for Saturday. This week is going to be Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham Co-op. And no other gameplay stream that day, because that's the day we go out to do errands and stuff. But there should be a new DSP Tries It released that day. And then this Sunday, again, is kind of up in the air, because this Sunday could be a new game that I started. It could be more Batman, depending on how far I got with the Riddler trophies. I don't know, and I can't promise you until I know how long it's going to take me to get through this Riddler stuff, alright? And trust me, it's frustrating for you, it's frustrating for me. I wish I didn't have to do it. It's a game programming oversight by these guys at Rocksteady. I don't know what they were thinking, forcing me now to do all the Riddler trophies just to get the ending of the game. It's silly, okay? Now, before we adjourn, because I know this has been a long week in preview, but before we adjourn, just to give you a preview of the stuff coming up for the rest of this month. Next week, not this week coming up, the week after, a new Godzilla game is being released, and apparently this is like the real version. This game was released in Japan a year ago on PS3, but people complained it didn't have a lot of content. Apparently this game, now being released next week, is a full-fledged game with tons of content. It's a real fan Godzilla game. If you love Godzilla and all the monsters of Godzilla, this game apparently is great. I like Godzilla. I grew up with the Godzilla movies. I don't know how many people know that, because I really don't talk about Godzilla that much, because there's nothing about him in gaming, but I grew up with Godzilla. I'm a huge fan. I would love to play this game, so that's next week. In addition, next week, the first major DLC for Batman Arkham Knight comes out. It's the Batgirl DLC. She's going to have her own story, her own side content. Supposedly, it's going to be several hours, so it might even take me multiple streams to beat it. That's going to be next week, and supposedly Life is Strange Episode 4 also all releases next week. So next week is going to be another jam-packed week full of new content for you. The week after that, the Street Fighter V beta comes out, and I pre-ordered the game already, which basically means I prepaid for it. I prepaid for the whole game on PlayStation Network, and when that comes out, which is supposed to be around July 23rd, I'm going to be playing the beta for as long as I can. Even if the beta is available for 3 days, guess what I'm playing for 3 days? Street Fighter V. Like, no lie, I want to play the fuck out of it, because I'm excited. People are telling me Street Fighter V is just like Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which is my favorite Street Fighter game of all time, and I'll tell you this, if it is, number one, not only am I going to play the fuck out of it, number two, I may actually consider going to some tournaments locally here, and number three, if I really like it to the point that it is like Super Turbo, you may see me come back in a big way, in a way that I have not played fighting games in a long time, but we'll have to see. I'm going to wait, I'm going to judge by this beta, what I think, my initial thoughts, and we'll go from there. For those of you who are fighting game fans and have followed me all these years that I was a major part of Street Fighter, you're going to want to see this beta coverage, and that's coming up the third week of July, so this month of July is packed, alright? The end of July, not so much, but maybe that would be the perfect time for me to focus in on one of these new games that I start up, but let me know what you think. What game should I play as my downtime game? Let me know what you think of all the content that's been coming out recently, alright? I really love your feedback, and, you know, it really does directly affect the stuff that I do. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for understanding with all the stuff going on why I'm not doing the Best of June montage. Don't worry, the TV Superstars Best and Worst montage coming later this month. Another marathon coming later this month. All the Patreon perks are coming later this month. This month is going to be an awesome month. I'm pumped because typically, as I said, the summer's dead. This summer is exciting and fun and full of content, and I cannot wait to share that with you. So thank you, everyone, for watching the Week in Preview. Spread the word, because this was a very important one. Tons of good, positive stuff. I hope that people will watch it. Peace out, and I'll see you for all the new gameplay this week. 2 reviews. ends of 2 playthroughs, continuations. It's going to be great. Thanks, and I'll see you then. Peace out.